And also getting fit without the gym. We're going to tell you how you can use the power of your mind to drop those extra pounds. Well, it takes more than diet and exercise to get in shape. Emotions actually play a really big role when it comes to weight loss. Dr. Carmen Harra is here to share some tips for tricking your mind and your body into better shape. That sounds like a good idea, Dr. Harra. Good to see you.
Good to be with you today. Thank you for having me.
So what is it? We come in the house, we're starving. Immediately we want to grab for the first thing we see, and it's always going to be those chips or something that we shouldn't be eating. Why is that?
Well, we are very emotional. We come from a drop of emotions, so emotions play such a big role in our life. And we are probably not aware, but there are 4 dominant emotions like anger, hatred, insecurity, and fear. Fear. You know, there's a dominant emotion of fear. I think it's probably happening right now as we speak all over the globe, the fear of 2012 and all kinds of feelings of fear. And then what happens to us is we tend to believe that food is to the rescue. So eating will actually raise immediately the level of the feel-good hormone serotonin in the brain, and we go to the comfort food to slow down those feelings that we cannot control. So I think the trick is be aware of your feelings, be aware of the pattern of compulsive behavior personality, and be aware that actually food is as dangerous as nicotine and alcohol, and so people turn to food because they believe that it's not going to harm us, but in the long run it really does.
So true, isn't it? That whole thing about comfort food. Everybody wants to kind of
Exactly.
feel better, and
yes.
Food makes you feel better, right?
Totally.
So sometimes this is what happens to a lot of people. They eat when they're not even hungry. So, you know, you're running by, maybe you're bored. Does boredom enter into this?
Absolutely. I mean, you get bored, you have problems in relationship, you have problem with the people in your life. So what happens is that you tend to believe that that food is going to make you feel in control. When in fact it actually doesn't make you feel, doesn't make a difference. So you have to pay attention to the signs. Like the first sign will be you very hungry very quickly. You eat when in fact you're not really hungry and you're just full. You eat because you think that that's gonna control your emotions. So you run to food because you want to balance the chemistry of the brain. And so it's more complex than it is. So then you tend to actually eat the wrong food, the junk food, the food that has a lot of sugar in it. Even if it's carbohydrate, whatever has sugar will raise instantaneously the level of the hormone in the brain that will create that equilibrium, the balance. So be aware that that kind of a sugary food, what is that going to do to your body is actually going to store the sugar into fat very fast. So
just what we don't need.
That's exactly what we don't need. So immediately the serotonin will drop again. So there's that kind of a vicious cycle happening to us if we act this way without controlling our feelings.
And then if we eat foods that are better for us, we're not going to get the highs and lows, the sugar high and the sugar crash.
Exactly. And it's very easy to pay attention to the glycemic index. It's very easy to eat fruits and vegetables because they actually have a lot of serotonin in them, so that's exactly producing the natural way of raising serotonin, exercising, yoga, everything that has to do with releasing a cortisol level, that is a stress hormone, in a different way other than kind of tricking your mind by giving in the wrong food.
All right, so we've established that we're eating because of our emotions. Let's talk about some ways that we can kind of not do that. Do you have some tips for us to get us more on the track of healthy eating?
Absolutely. I think the first thing, and that's the reason, and I'm glad that we're educating people today to understand that taking care of your feelings and acknowledging, like have a diary, and at the end of the day, write down, which is my dominant emotion? And I'm afraid during the whole day, am I insecure? During the day, am I scared of something? Is fear playing? What is playing the major role
in
all these emotions? Yeah. So you notice at the end of the day that the dominant emotion creates a pattern of emotional situation that will repeat. Everything that's a pattern will repeat itself. So acknowledging the pattern and acknowledging the tendency of eating the wrong food. So I think when you allow your rational mind to override, to take control of your emotion, then you can actually balance the chemistry of a brain and be in control. And again, you will live a much healthier life.
One of the things that tends to help a lot of people is exercise, right? Because you're talking about those chemicals in your brain, and you know the good stuff flows when you're exercising, right? You got those endorphins running.
Totally, totally. I mean, exercise is what it does is balancing the chemistry, because immediately, naturally, the level of the serotonin will go up, the cortisol will go down. So immediately you balance that through yoga, meditation, going to the gym, and even walking. Just take a walk, your dog, or just relax your mind. And again, control those feelings.
Another tip, I guess, is just to stop and think for a minute. When you're at the refrigerator or at the pantry door, am I really hungry?
Absolutely. You're making such a great point. Stay in control to the temptation. You're tempted, but if you allow the mind to work, you know, the problem with us as humans, we're more emotional than we should be. So the first reaction of the brain is the emotional reaction. And we used to say count to 100 and allow the cortex, the intelligence of the brain, to take a role in your daily activities, and then you can allow the mind to put a stop to the temptation.
Yeah. And one good thing, just put those things out of your sights, because out of sight, out of mind, right?
Absolutely.
Get rid of it.
That's it. That's it.
All right. Dr. Carmen Harra, some great tips. Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. And coming up next.